This might not be the sarcophagus I typically play with, but I did promise you that I would eventually. Welcome to Horus. Hello folks, I'm the Ghost with Knife, and welcome back to more Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. And as you see today, we finally got enough Horus cards to build a Horus deck. That's right, that poll win for this deck that was like 2-3 months ago, I finally got off my ass and got this deck together. To be fair, I was kind of waiting on the secret pack because I didn't want to craft everything, and I did get a good few of the cards I needed here from the secret pack and a 10 pull. So here we are, finally playing Horus. Now what the hell does this deck do? It's very simple. You want to get out King Sarcophagus or the Wall of the Imperial Tomb, and you want to use these cards to put your Horus monsters into the graveyard, which would be Imseti, Duamatef, Hoppy, and Quebesanuf, the protection one, the one that I actually really like the least. Anyways, so you get these in the graveyard. They can special summon themselves back. They're all level 8, so you could use these to make really crazy rank 8 plays. You can do stuff like Coach King Giant Trainer. You can make stuff like Hope Harbinger. You can make Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord. There's a lot of really fun things you can do with this. The thing about Horus is that it's typically an engine and not a main deck thing. And the main thing everyone uses Horus for is Tearlament. And I'm not playing Tearlament. I don't like the archetype. I don't want to play the archetype at all, so we're not doing that. I wanted to try Horus as pure as possible, which is why we're here with this very weird looking deck. Planet Pathfinder helps us find Wall, which gets us to our King Sarcophagus and all of our other nonsense. Ash Blossom, Droll, Nibiru, Imperm, and Cult Fire is our interaction suite. Rainbow Bridge plus Crystal Beast Sapphire Pegasus can do some kind of silly nonsense. Rainbow Bridge can also get us into Wall, so it essentially is 2 more copies of Pathfinder. Canoptic Protector helps us special summon our monsters more, and then we have our actual finisher cards, the Majesty's Fiend and Vanity's Fiend. Both of these cards are very powerful ways to stun your opponent out of the game. So, can this wacky quote-unquote pure Horus deck do anything on the ladder? Let's find out in a few games. All right, here we are in our first game with the deck ever. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't really know how to play Horus at that rate. I don't know the cards that well. I know that they summon big monsters and make rank 8 plays. That's basically the reason I wanted to play pure Horus, because I wanted to play another knockoff XYZ deck. I don't know how this hand looks in the beginning, but I will say with a little bit more experience now, the hand's actually not that bad. We can use Planet Pathfinder to get Walls, Imseti to go ahead and grab King Sark, and from there I can get all my monsters that I want. I tried to use the Planet Pathfinder to Ash. I'm kidding. I used Planet Pathfinder to get Walls because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. It's okay though, because this is a perfect example of what this deck can do. We're going to use Imseti and Happy to grab the King Sark, which is going to also draw as a card, because Imseti is an incredibly good card in this deck. Basically, you can pitch this and another card to the graveyard, get a King Sark, and then replace the other card you pitch by drawing a card, because Imseti is psychotically good. And because we have 2 of our Horus monsters in the grave, we can bring them back because we also have the King Sarcophagus. I'm going to go ahead and pitch the Crystal Beast Sapphire Pegasus. We're going to go get Gay Ra. I'm calling him that because it's a funny name, and I don't know how to pronounce his first name. So yeah, we've got Gay Ra. We're going to go ahead and resummon the Imseti, resummon Gay Ra, and resummon Happy. Now I know what you're thinking. Why don't you use the Horus effect to ditch this Happy to get a Duamatef? Because I don't know what I'm doing. And then I realized, oh, you can use this more than once per turn, which is why you can't Ash Blossom this. Going to go ahead and summon the Duamatef. And then we're going to use the Walls to grab our Horus, the Black Flame Deity. I'm doing this because I want it in my hand in case something happens, because it sounds like fun. We're going to put back the Canoptic Protector, and from this position, again, I'm still learning how the deck works. We're going to put Hoppy and Duamatef underneath a Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord, and also from this position, there's another thing I can do for a little bit more control. I could go Sanafond to deny them some sort of like graveyard summon. I could also go Hope Harbinger to deny them spells and attacks. There's a lot of things I can do, but from this position, not knowing what I'm doing in my first ever game with this deck, I decided to stick with this board, because basically if they have a monster effect, I can negate it. If they do get rid of one of my other cards, I can protect the rest of my Horus cards and get rid of one of their cards on the board, because it just sends any one card on the board to the graveyard, non-targeting, because Imseti is a psychotic card. What were they thinking? Anyways, We're going to go and pass the turn to our opponent. So we'll see what kind of nonsense they've got here. I wonder... Oh my god. It's my favorite deck. You better have a damn good Sous Chef deck, VJ. Our opponent is going to use the Shari Red and the Shirao. We're going into Carrier. We're going into Carrier, hell yeah! Now, from this position, I am going to use Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord to negate this because the field spell is pretty darn good, and I don't want them just getting a bunch of card advantage. I think this is pretty decent enough play. It stops them mostly, and then my opponent uses Iron Dragon Tiamaton. Now, for the record, I understand why this is in the deck. It's just funny that this is the level 4 they wanted. So, my opponent goes in the tank here for a little bit when they're trying to summon Tiamaton, and I think they were trying to figure out if they wanted to pop in Seti or Gay Ra. Excuse me. Sorry, that lingering bronchitis is still messing with me just a little bit. So yeah, I think my opponent was reading the cards, realizing that's a terrible idea, so they're going to go ahead and put the Tiamaton over here on the right, which does deny me that zone as long as that monster is on the board. And then my opponent gets their Shirao negated. They're going to pop everything else in that column, doesn't matter. My opponent is going to activate Double Summon because they're a psychopath. What a great Sous Chef deck. And they don't even use the extra normal side. They're just like, Double Summon, Dum Ton. They go ahead and swing into me with the Tiamaton. King Sarcophagus is a not-so-secret effect. Activates. They attack the Horus monster. I'm going to send Tiamaton to the grave. They attack into me with Shirao. I think my opponent's just kind of done here. They know they're cooked. And from this position, I really don't blame them. We have an absolutely bestial hand. We're going to go ahead and bring back the Duamatef and the Happy. I'm just going to swing for game. It's not a great example of what Horus can do because my opponent didn't get to do much, but hey, I got to showcase how I learned how the deck does, how I learned what the deck does, and I got to play against Sous Chefs. Come on, you gotta let me have right. Getting into our next game with Horus, the hand is not that bad. We've got quite a bit of interaction, and we are going first. Walls is a great thing to start off with. My opponent, standby phase, maxi me, and I'm like, okay, fine, it's fine, it's fine. I'm just gonna call by this. There's no way they've got Nash Blossom with this Maxi, right? So I'm gonna go and just call by their Maxi to try and just get some nonsense going here. We're gonna get this stupid bug out of here. I hate this stupid roach so much. And then we're gonna go and use walls to try and grab our Seti, so we can use that with Gay Ra. But of course our opponent also has Ash Blossom. Who are you kidding? This is my luck, for crying out loud. I never get to do anything that I want to. Anyways, so from this position, I heavily considered leaving, but I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. I've got Nibiru and I've got Ash Blossom. There's a lot of decks that like to special summon a bunch. This is great, and this can stop them from extending and maybe force them to go down some wonkier play lines and force them to use resources they don't want to do. So I'm actually pretty happy with this hand. Plus, I can use walls next turn. It's not like they're going to have another Ash Blossom, right? Oh my god, it's Alistair. Sous Chef's Alistair, all of the ghosts of my past are coming back. So yeah, Alistair. Yeah, I'm gonna Ash Blossom the hell out of that because that's a little too good. So we're gonna stop their one card combo. Hopefully they don't have any more interactions, so I can play my deck. My opponent sets one, swings in for 1,000. I guess they don't have Invocation or Magical Meltdown to help them get going. I'm gonna go ahead and draw. We get a Planet Pathfinder here. I'm gonna go and use the walls, and oh my god. The opener, Maxi, Ash Blossom, in a one-card combo with Alistair. Okay, man. Yeah, I guess. So from this position, I don't really know what to do, so I'm gonna try and use Planet Pathfinder to see if walls is a hard once or a soft once. So we're gonna use Planet Pathfinder, tribute it, bring back the walls. I probably should have just attacked with Planet Pathfinder, and then I find out the walls of the Imperial Tomb is 1000% a hard once. And from this position, I'm not really sure what I can do. If my opponent gets anything for Alistair, like an Invocation or something, it's over, because they'll Macabre and they will negate this card every single turn. So on my opponent's draw phase, I I just gift my opponent at this rate. I'm too frustrated and tilted by Maxi, double Ash, and an Alistair. We'll get him next time, though. Alright, so after losing to Alistair, I'm a bit frustrated, but I do actually really like my hand here. We're going to use walls to try and see if they have anything for, like, Ash Blossom. I think my opponent has no interaction from this point, so I'm going to go ahead and put Troll back. We're going to use the King Sarcophagus, and normally what I would do in this situation is I would use Seti, because again, I've not experienced with the deck, but I thought about it and I went, wait, no, I'm not going to do that. Because I was thinking I put in Seti and Duamatef in the grave so I can get the King Sark in case something happens. But I decided, no, I'm going to get a little greedy with this. I'm going to go ahead and use the King Sark on Seti to pitch Happy, and then I'm going to use King Sark to pitch Duamatef and Gate Ra. And from this position, I can bring them all back. My opponent, they affect Valor Gate Ra. Now, why they did this, I'm not quite sure. Because Gate Ra doesn't do anything this turn. It's whatever. I was a little bewildered by this. Took about 30 seconds to recover from that. We're going to summon the rest of my monsters. And remember, we're going to use Happy and Duamatef to summon the Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord for the monster negate. And I decide from this position, I'm like, I don't know what my opponent's doing. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the Hope Harbinger, because from this hand, I have a monster negate, a spell negate, an Ash Blossom, and if they attack my monsters, I can just make them attack Hope Harbinger and have to deal with that nonsense. This absolutely crazy dragon. Our opponent's going to start, and they're going to be playing the Photon Advancer and Galaxy Knight. It looks like they're on some sort of weird brew of Galaxy, which is a deck that I've heavily considered playing. I'm not gonna lie. I see this deck enough, and I know that it's an XYZ deck, that I'm curious to know why people play this. Because every time I see it, it does one of two things. It gets curb stomped, or it extends past nonsense and starts summoning Galaxy Eyes, and I just give up at that point, because I hate when I play Interaction and they keep extending like 17 times. It's a pet peeve of mine. It's something I need to work on. Anyways, our opponent is going to summon the Galaxy Knight. They're going to use their effect. I guess they're looking to bait my Photon Lord. But then I just read the card and I was like, this effect does nothing. Which it didn't do anything. Our opponent's going to use the Galaxy Eye Soul Flare Dragon. This we are absolutely going to Photon Lord. I do not want them extending. And if they do have some sort of spell base extension, I can use Hope Harbinger for that. Our opponent is going to Sorcerer Fulfilling Light. And they've got one card in hand. I'm like, you know what? No, I will Hope Harbinger this. It's funnier that way. We will use the Hope Harbinger, steal the Sorcerer Fulfilling Light, and now if I feel like it after attacking with Hope Harbinger and I don't kill them, I can just make Zeus. So from this position, I'm going to make a psychotic play. I'm going to pitch in Perm to put Seti in the graveyard, so I can special summon Seti and the Happy. And I heavily considered going into another XYZ monster, but I was like, no, don't be greedy, just go ahead and attack with all your monsters. But I do grab Horus, the Black Flame Deity, in case something happens. We're going to put back the Ash Blossom, and then afterwards I'm like, no, I'm going to summon a monster I want to. And I decided to summon Draglupion. That's right, folks, it's back from our friggin' Grandpa Demento Suship deck. And then our opponent plays Raigeki Break, and not seeing that I can kill them on the board, they decide to Raigeki Break my King Sarcophagus. Now mind you, if this board wasn't present, this would be a great play. But I've got Draglupion, baby. And Draglupion equals Numeron Dragon. It's back, baby. Pitch him away and have a 25,000 attack Numeron Dragon eat you alive. Good game. Here we are in our next game. We are finally going second with this deck, which kind of sucks, especially with a hand like this where I can't really do anything. I'm not going to lie, though. I wasn't paying attention to anything that's about to happen. I was on my phone. And if I would have seen what was on the board, I probably would have left. So our opponent is going to summon Ha-Ray, the Sword Makanko, equipped it with Makonko Purification Dance. Now, folks, I have a really bad history with Makonko. I think I've beaten it like once before this game. So I tend to kind of see Makonko and do that thing that I said was really unhealthy and just scoop way too early. But I'm trying to get better at Yu-Gi-Oh! And stop scooping so much. Our opponent is going to add some nonsense Fire Dance to their hand and end their turn. I don't know if they messed up their plays, but whatever. I wasn't paying attention. I just heard that was my turn. And I was like, okay. We draw into Planet Pathfinder, which does equal walls if they don't ash this. I'm kind of hoping they ash this, though, so I can use my Insetti pretty safely. We do get to go into the walls, though. We do get to walls. And from here, I'm going to use Insetti to grab the King's Sarcophagus. And then from this position, I'm going to go ahead and draw into a Sapphire Pegasus. We're going to ditch both Sapphire Pegasuses here to finish the little quartet of ours, the rest of our Horus monsters. I'm going to go ahead and add the Horus Black Flame Deity just in case. Put back the Panoptic Protector. Happy, Gaira, Tuamatef, and Insetti. And from here, I'm going to attack. Now, normally, you don't want to attack in a Makonko because they can't be destroyed by battle, and your opponent takes any battle damage they would take from battles involving this card. But I'm playing Horus. And I was about to not go to combat. I was about to do some other nonsense, but then I reread this card. I reread the last effect. Sorry, I was confusing this thing's last effect, the Black Flame Deity draw, for this one, but no. King Sarcophagus last effect. At the start of the damage step, if a Horus monster battles an opponent's monster, you can send it to the grave. Remember, Congo monsters may protect you from life point damage, but they can't do it if they die. Swing Duamatep, swing Insetti, and Gaira, throw the sun at this nerd. Get your Makonko nonsense out of here. Alright, going into our next game, and somebody's got a Live Twin forward and sleeves. I don't know if they're playing Live Twin, but I'm going to assume that they are. I'm going to go ahead and use the Planet Pathfinder. I'm going to pitch it to spade out Nash, which I do get Nash for my troubles. I'm going to go ahead and let the Ash Blossom that, because I have walls in hand, so I'm like, oh no. Anyway, walls. I'm going to go ahead and activate walls. Grab Insetti. Put back Websnef, because I kind of want Ash in hand. Use Insetti. Our opponent's got a Maxi. And I'm like, okay, cool. Last card Ash. So I can bring back Happy and Insetti. It's not the best way to end your board, but it's something. It gives you a little bit of control. And my opponent just is like, no, you got it. I can't beat this. And they scoop it up. Sometimes that's just enough. Alright, folks, we are getting into our last game. Somebody has the exact same board and sleeves, which I respect. My opponent in the... Two is not enough. Ban this. Ban Max C. Thank you. Anyways, sorry, I'm having a mild conniption there. I do have Troll, which the idea behind not scooping immediately to Max C, or like try to play through it, is that I'm going to try to draw one of their cards. I'm going to go and use the Insetti though, and then I realize I kind of make a mistake here. Now what I should do with this King Sark here, I should ditch the Canoptic Protector, so I can go ahead and basically just get a free another Horus card in hand. So I'm going to go ahead and use that, and from this position I'm going to put Happy in there. I'm going to go ahead and reset the Canoptic Protector, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, so I don't want to special summon too much. Maybe I should just go ahead and special summon Insetti and Happy, but I'm like, no, go ahead and try to set up your board with King's Sarcophagus, which is kind of a mistake in my thing. I think I should have held on to Droll and Ash Blossom just in case, because off their first special summon, they're going to draw a card, I could have trolled them then, and then tried to do more special summoning, but it's one more card. And I figured, okay, just give them their pot of greed, whatever. We're going to go ahead and put Gay Rod in the graveyard. We're going to go ahead and resummon the Insetti, resummon Happy, and then I'm going to make the most gangster play I can. Because I misread this, and I thought Vanity's Fiend was a 7, like Majesty's Fiend. No, it's a 6. So I'm like, oh, okay. Tribute summon Vanity's Fiend, and I have an Insetti and a Vanity's Fiend on board. You can no longer special summon, and if you remove Vanity's Fiend, I pop a card on your board, and I can special summon my nonsense with Canoptic Protector. Your turn, opponent. Our opponent is going to draw with a very, very hard monster to get over. You better have a kaiju, buddy. Our opponent's going to small world. I'm going to Ash Blossom this, because I don't want them to small world into a kaiju. Our opponent does cross out Designator this. Okay, so it looks like they're going to get the, kaiju. Can't do much about that. So they go ahead and designate our cards. We're going to reveal Backup Secretary, which is a Cyberse, and Fireball Phantom, which is a... Wait. Hold on. Is there like a light, dark Cyberse kaiju I don't know about? No, we grabbed Lady Debug. Sure. But what about Vanity's Fiend? Neither player can special summon monsters. Normal Lady Debug. Add a Cyberse to our hand. Awesome. What about Vanity's Fiend? Neither player can special summon monsters. Oh, Microcoder, what's that do? You can use it for link material and special summon some nonsense? Keep going? Yeah. What about Vanity's Fiend? Neither player can special summon monsters. At this point, my opponent took about 100 seconds to finally read Vanity's Fiend to figure out why game bugged, why they couldn't special summon. And that's when they scooped it up. Let's get to the wrap up. So after my little escapade with Horus, how do I feel about the deck? I'm not gonna lie, I had quite a bit of fun with it. I think beforehand the idea of Horus was kind of muddled thanks to all the Horus tier decks I've seen. So I didn't really think I was gonna enjoy this deck because I hate tier with all my heart and soul. But running a more pure Horus deck was actually a lot of fun. And it let me do a lot of the things that I really want to with this deck, which is summon big level 8 monsters to get big level 8 XYZ monsters, and do silly nonsense like Draglubion OTK, and use Hope Harbinger and Photon Lord more realistically, which actually winds up being a lot of fun. Also, because I have a lot of just like, because I'm focusing more on Horus, I can have more room for interaction, so I can have stuff like Droll and Ash Blossom and Imperm and Called By, and not feel as bad about it. The only card that I'd say that I really wasn't impressed with was the Crystal Beast stuff. I understand why it's in the deck, but I could live without it if you ask me. I think that that's just, like, in a pinch, you can discard them to your King Sarcophagus, which you need, but most of the time, that's the only reason. They're just kind of dead cards in your hand. Protector is a nice card. I don't think I'd run it in a different Horus deck if I did revisit the archetype. But hey, it's niche, and of course, both of the Majesty cards, or Majesties and Vanities, are disgustingly good cards. There's just not much to say about it. They do obnoxious nonsense. So yeah, that was my experience with Horus. I surprisingly liked it, and I think I will bring back Horus in the future, but for now, we're going to put pure Horus to rest. Because, you know, there might be something else calling from the grave. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Now get the hell out of here before my bones start rustling.